Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. And today we're going to talk about the first successful social media platform, MySpace, which at the time felt really futuristic. It took information sharing, the sharing of art, the connecting of people across city lines and borders in the world to new heights. It created the kinds of jealousy and addiction to social media issues that we know all too well today. It had all of the good and bad, but I think the good of MySpace far outweighed the bad because the negatives of MySpace are the negatives of every platform that has come since. But the positives of MySpace have not been replicated in most cases by other social media platforms. And for that reason alone, I think we owe MySpace founder Tom Anderson a big debt of gratitude. He showed us the way, and we've gone astray. Now, what made MySpace unique is that for most people who were around at the dawn of social media, their introduction to this new way of interacting and communicating was through MySpace. Previously, the you had things like chat rooms on the internet. You had individual blogs and websites that you had to seek out and sort of find people with shared interests of your own. But with MySpace, it was a kind of attempt to centralize all of this on a single platform so that no matter what your interests are, it would be there. And it was all about sort of this junction between people you knew in real life and people that you hadn't met before in real life, but who share a similar interest, the same sports team, the same, Philadelphia Eagles fans have all sort of congregate on this corner of MySpace, and Britney Spears fans, who was big at the time, all congregate in that corner and that sort of thing. And it was on this week in 2008 when MySpace did what, as a music lover, I think was among its most revolutionary things. And this was its integration of what we now call music streaming into the platform. It allowed people to listen to music through MySpace. And more interestingly, it allowed people to create playlists and a welcome song. I think they had a specific name for it, but it was a song that would play automatically when you go on someone's MySpace page. Did I call it Facebook? That's a Freudian slip. No, but we're talking about MySpace. So, you go on someone's MySpace page and a song plays. And some people would change this song regularly. Some people would leave the song up for a while. And this spoke to people's emotional relationship with the song. This is the song I want you to think of when you think of me. And obviously, this wasn't sort of written down. The MySpace team didn't say to people, now, right, choose the song that you think is the emotional representation of your personality, but unconsciously, that's what it was. And it was quite liberating because for the first time outside of a record shop or on a radio station discussion that was necessarily limited mainly to the DJ and his or her guests. We have people, regular people from all over the world getting to talk about music, share music, and learn about one another's personality from music. And there was something about MySpace that was, at least in hindsight to what we have now, it was a bit like the Wild Wild West. We didn't have censorship of content. We didn't have overzealous copyright enforcement that pays no attention at all to fair use. We know what those platforms are. And it was just there was no one was really telling anyone what to do. I don't remember. I could be wrong. So if someone remembers otherwise, please let me know in the comments. But for during the sort of golden age of MySpace in the early 2000s, I don't remember any censorship. People could say whatever they want. They could be intelligent. There were intelligent posts on MySpace. There were debates about things on MySpace. There was original art on MySpace. There was people sharing it, sharing art. And there was, humor, comedy, which is illegal now. in most places, but it was all over MySpace and it was great. And yeah, it had the bad things that we associate with social media today. People, stalking each other, jealous of each other, anger. King of the Hill did a great episode about the negatives, which are all there on today's big platforms too. But MySpace's advantages were really great. I mean, even platforms that are comparatively less sensorial, like X, it still censors, just not as much as the Meta-owned platforms. MySpace was a free place. You could say what you wanted. You could be outrageous. You could say the things that they wouldn't allow on TV, which the funny thing is now that TV is gone and everything is online, obviously most of that is because of the convenience and immediacy of online versus a pre-scheduled TV program. But one of the reasons that, interestingly, TV has been killed is that now the internet, mainstream social media, and streaming platforms are just like TV. You have those words you can't say on TV or the radio, and now those are the same words you can't say online. Where maybe one of the reasons MySpace and the old mainstream media coexisted harmoniously was because they were so different. Yes, TV wouldn't let you say those certain words, but you could sure as hell say them on MySpace. You could say anything you want. You could play any music you wanted. It was really, really, when you think about it, ahead of its time. And yes, things like Spotify then came, and things like Meta's platforms, well, what's now called Meta, came. Then eventually Twitter came, which was really boring when it first started. Then it became really interesting. Then the censorship happened and it became horrible. Now, I think Musk has definitely improved it. I'll say that. But again, there was something about MySpace. It was like the Wild West. Imagine a city before parking restrictions and all of this taxation, and you can't drink here, and you can't smoke there, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. MySpace was the Wild West of the internet in so many ways. And if only it had been able to develop further technologically, while retaining Tom Anderson's original values. Alas, Rupert Murdoch came in, and while he let Tom and his crew do their thing for a while, eventually they tried to, make it the next Fox television, which, yeah, Fox was revolutionary as a television network in the late 80s. But what worked once in the 80s didn't work again in the 2000s, and MySpace went the way of the dodo, peace and love and common sense. Let me know what you think of MySpace in the comments here on YouTube, a platform which I will never ever criticize ever. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.